I think it'll be November or December. I'll ask. Get married next September.
Expecting showers and thunderstorms to pick up as we head through the rest of the day today.
You got good audio? Can you hear?
Great. Very strong winds will be the main threat. Highs in the mid-70s. Should go down pretty quickly this evening. Pretty quiet weather rolls in as we head our way into tomorrow. Back
oh, there it is.
70s on Friday with dry.
I remember you telling me that thing was messed up.
It's weird. Why that has to happen?
Maybe you can plug into the one over here. Maybe it'll help. There's another outlet right here if you wanted to.
That one doesn't work, I don't think.
It doesn't?
I've had advice given.
No, on my stuff. It works. There's another.
Oh, no, I've got it now.
Help me help a friend.
I like it. You can call in and talk about your problems. They
Ready?
have solutions.
Yep.
That's what I was looking for. Recovery Talk help.
Morning, Mom. Good morning, folks. This is Recovery Talk. It's 10:30 on Thursday. My name is Jim Quigley, your host. Show 52, I think. I think it's show 52. So we've been doing this thing for 52 weeks, exactly 1 year, even though we've a little over a year because we've skipped a couple weeks here and there. Actually, for those of you guys that are fans of ours on Facebook Live, our regular producer, Mike Kelly, is on vacation, so we have Braxton back in today.
Hey!
So Braxton, thanks for coming in and filling in, and it's always good to be with Braxton. Recovery Talk is a show that tries to bring hope and help for hurting people when it comes to substance abuse and recovery and everything that has to do with that. And this show is brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech, which is a mechanic shop here in town. Bring your car there if you have any car needs. You'll get a good price. You get good service. If you buy a part from them, you get a 2-year, 24,000 mile parts and labor nationwide warranty. So that's pretty amazing. And you get your car fixed here, break down in Arizona, and if it's under warranty, they'll fix it over there for free. So anyway, give them a call if you have any car issues. 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434, and you can know as a customer that all the profits from this business go to support men in recovery through Freedom Farm Ministries. So kind of a no-brainer. Get a car fixed and help out a good cause at the same time. So this morning I can actually literally say is a friend of mine I've known for almost a decade. I've known Jesse, my friend here, for a decade because I was a guest at Freedom Farm February of 2011, and during that time, I believe I met you then, shortly after I had arrived, or you were already here. I don't exactly remember the details. My head was still quite foggy, but I asked Jesse to come, and he was a little bit reluctant, but I pressed him. I put him in a corner, didn't give him too much room to say no, but I was telling him on the way here that I really believe that he's got a lot of hope to share for people because I run into it all the time. If you're listening or watching, there are people have given a lot of opportunity. They've been given a lot of chances, and people are like, you know what, this guy is just never going to get it. Well, people do get it. People, you never know when it's going to happen. You never know when someone's going to get the Lord's going to get a hold of someone's heart in a way that produces some change. And you know what, Jesse, I don't want to prematurely blow your head up, but I really think something different's happened to you. So welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
so for having me. Sorry.
Absolutely. Say hi. If you look over there, he's a little bit of a modest guy, so stay out of the Facebook world. And you know what? If you're listening locally on the air, we'd love to hear from you. Go to Recovery Talk on Facebook, and you can say hi. You can let us know what you think of the show. If you are interested in coming on, maybe being a guest, let us know. But you could also watch all those previous episodes on Facebook, Recovery Talk, or you can go to the Freedom Farm Ministries website. That's Freedom Farm Ministries, all one word.org, and we have all the previous shows posted on there too. So Jesse, my friend, were you born in Greer, South Carolina?
Greer, South Carolina, a suburb of Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Like you said, God's given me a lot of chances, and I'm only here by His grace and mercy, but Greer, a little small town outside of the upstate South Carolina, but yeah, that's where I'm from. I mean, I've been up here back and forth, probably like you said, about 10 years, or a little over.
And I'm not trying to poke fun at you or anything like that. It's been a long, hard road for you.
Yeah,
There's been some times, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the story, where I think hopefully you remember, like, when you were here a couple times and you ended up leaving. It was like, I was rooting for you to stay. I was like, come on, hang in there a little bit more, and it was tough for you. But what was growing up like? I don't even know much about. I know you're very close to your mom, but really that's about all I know about growing up life.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's all I got now, but growing up was great. I mean, I had a childhood everybody would love to have. I mean, grew up in church. Grew up playing sports. Didn't ever go without anything. You know, I mean, always had what I needed. Always going on vacations, camping. You know, going to the mountains, to the beach. Just had a great childhood. Had God-fearing parents that showed me how to live and what it was like to be a Christian. And you know, that was. I always had a lot of friends too, and didn't really do good in school. Enjoyed school, but also, you know, didn't really like it.
I hated school.
Yeah, I mean,
I could not stand school. I'm actually signing up to go back to school right now, and I just don't want to do it. I want the information. I just don't want to go to school.
Yeah, don't want to work for it, right?
Yeah. I hate writing papers. Yeah. That's when you get into past high school, you got to write papers, so I can't stand it.
Well, I wouldn't know. I got my GED.
So did I.
Diploma.
Yeah.
But, you know, and now, like, grew up playing sports, had an older brother, 2 years older, and his name's Jake, and he was, you know, we were always, I guess you say, popular in school and with friends and stuff, and we played sports. I grew up playing baseball, golf, basketball, church basketball, you know, and ended up, you know, I mean, just I had everything I could ask for, you know, and was at church Sundays, Wednesdays, Saturdays playing basketball, and it was just a great childhood, you know, and great parents, great family, great brother, had somebody I could look up to. And
you know, when it comes to dealing with people that are, you know, trying to figure out what's wrong with their loved ones, when it comes to how they get into substance abuse, this is a common conversation that a lot of times the parents want to, you know, look and you know, obviously there's a lot of times when parental issues or child upbringing, you know, encouraged, you know, I guess, a person going off. But there's also just as many stories of guys that grew up in great households that didn't really have anything that they could point to that contributed to them going off the way they did. So I just really think that, you know, people really need to understand that addiction starts with, you know, a person's personal choices, because with that said, there's also people that have grown up in terrible households that have the genetic disposition for addiction, and they never got into it. Mm-hmm. So there's really, it's an individual thing that, you know, addiction always starts off as someone making a choice to do that, you know. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. I mean, I had a great childhood, and I guess you could say my parents were strict, you know, and I guess that made me want to rebel, you know, since I knew I would get in trouble for it. That made me want to do it more. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am. But, you know, it ended up coming back and biting me in the butt. So, you know, and I just...
So when would you say did you started to rebel?
12, 13.
Okay.
I mean, like, when are you in middle school? Like 6th, 7th grade, 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I got put on Adderall, Ritalin.
Okay.
And that was, like, the start of my addiction journey. But
so for those in the audience, I mean, everybody's heard of probably Adderall and Ritalin. It's a medication given to people for ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, thing? Were you hyperactive, or you just
Not really hyperactive. It was just
ADD?
focus. Yeah, couldn't focus really.
So they give you this medication to give you focus, and it's real controversial because what they give you is amphetamines.
A stimulant.
It's a stimulant. If you actually get the generic form of Adderall, it actually literally says amphetamines on it.
Amphetamine salt.
So if anybody takes a stimulant, it is going to make you focus. Even if you don't have a focus problem, it's going to make you focus. That's why it's highly abused in colleges, because if people are cramming and they need to get some study in and whatnot, you can take that stuff and it'll make you focus. So, but it's also very easily abusable.
It is. And that was, my mom took me to the doctor to help me do better in school.
Yeah,
and it's a tool to help you do better. I mean, but and at first I didn't care for it. I mean, I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made me lose my appetite, and it's funny, I would hide the pills like everywhere. I mean, under my bed, under my pillow and stuff.
Because you didn't want to take it?
Because I didn't want to take it. I didn't care for it. It's just like cigarettes. My grandma used to smoke, and I'd hide her cigarettes, but I ended up started smoking. And, I mean, it's just crazy how it works. But it helped a little bit in school, but it also helped my focus elsewhere. I didn't really focus on what I was supposed to be focusing on. I started focusing on the wrong things. So that ended up getting out of control, and stopped going to school, started smoking pot before school, drinking. Had an older brother who was hanging out with older guys playing baseball and stuff, and we started drinking. I started drinking a lot more with him.
How old were you when that was going on?
Between 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
So smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and
drinking
a lot. I mean, not a whole lot, but.
And you had a prescription for stimulants. Okay.
And before long, I had a prescription for Xanax too. So.
How old were you when you got put on Xanax?
Probably 19 or 20.
Wow.
Yeah. And I figured out I could go to these doctors and basically get whatever I wanted. I mean, all I had to do was tell them what I wanted.
Would you tell that you were having anxiety issues?
Yeah, I mean, I had anxiety from the Adderall, so I needed something to do with the anxiety from the Adderall.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, it's like, here you're taking your stimulant, which will make you anxious, and then they're giving you a benzodiazepine to calm you down.
Yeah.
So this is the unfortunate thing when it comes to, and I don't think, doctors are being malicious. I just think that they really need to think about this a little bit better. I mean, it's unbelievable what people get put on today. But that's kind of the American culture, isn't it? It's like, hey, give me a pill to fix my problem.
Fix it fast.
Give me the easiest, softest thing in order to help fix my problem. And unfortunately, it's never really a solution to whatever issue you have going on. Look, we got a break here, so why don't we stop now, take this break, and then we'll come back. So stay with us, folks. We'll be back in just a few.
Well.
So, are you in here on Sundays?
Huh?
Are you in here on Sundays or pre-recorded?
For the talk show, that's Saturdays, but no. Normally we're pre-recorded in the summers.
No, I heard you this Sunday on the radio.
Weather? Was it a weather report?
Yeah, it was like a couple of, I'm Braxton, and but you were saying, but you were acknowledging it was Sunday, so.
Yeah, there's a weather report.
Okay.
It's recorded. I record, normally JB does the weather reports, but every once in a while I will, whenever he's not here, and those are recorded on Fridays.
Okay.
But for the talk show I do on Saturdays, during the sports season we're live, but during the summer we're recorded.
Okay.
Or call it 828-264-3924. That's
You're doing great.
Good.
You are.
Thank you. Did you talk to Corey any?
A little bit.
I haven't talked about that now.
What?
I was just wondering how many. They said it has more strokes.
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know. I've tried to communicate with him over since he's left last time, and just hasn't been very available.
They said he told Kevin. He said, "I'm checking out. I'm gonna die." I was like, "Yeah, for real."
Yeah.
I'm glad he's here, though, man. It's good to see him.
I've seen the brighter days, and I pray prayers to heaven from my lowest place. No matter where I am, I'm standing in your love. On the
Okay.
Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 5. Call 386-6200 or learn more at freedomfarmministries.org.
Creekside Electronics has been the choice for home builders in the high country since 1976.
Got
As experts in custom integration, Wi-Fi distribution, automation, and security systems. Creekside has
two,
postured themselves
well,
as worthy
a minute
adversaries
45.
in the world of home building. Creekside Electronics is ready to consult you when it comes to how to properly set
can't
up
find
technology
anybody
in
else.
the home or business.
Like, Jesse, I want you on the show tomorrow. He's like,
You
you can't find anybody else?
Yeah. I don't want to go solo again.
Well, it's anything God wants me to do, I'm a question. You know what I mean? I don't know. I need to stop that. But
Yes,
Well,
I can find somebody else, but I want you to be on.
Creekside Electronics sign all around town.
How was that going solo?
It was fine, yeah. So, and it was a show.
Was you telling your story?
Mhm.
Creekside Electronics
Yeah.
will be happy to consult with you on how to get your technology project.
Will was trying to show me his
Creekside
from
Electronics,
last week, but
simplifying
he
technology
kept
in the
messing
high
up
country
Wi-Fi out
since
there or something.
1976.
Oh.
Have you tried that salad bar at Capone?
Yeah, Will did a great job.
Salad just the way you like it with 40 top quality
I'm thinking about changing the name of the show, even though
Really?
Really? What are you gonna call it?
Beyond Sobriety.
Beyond Sobriety?
Yeah, because like I'm actually, when I was telling you about school, like I'm actually being trained in biblical counseling and stuff like that. Yes, I know. I still never called your father. Dang it. That just reminded me.
I don't care. It's not.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I gave you the info. It's up
Yeah.
to you now. I don't.
So, his dad is on the board of a biblical counseling place in Wilkesboro. Anyway, yeah.
He's the
like,
chairman of the board.
The goal of
Also, you've got 20 seconds.
the goal of Christians is not to sobriety; it's transformation.
Yeah.
So recovery
Yeah, it's
has
like
a
it's
sense
still-
of not
Still
transformation.
kind of introducing, you know?
Yeah.
Just in a different part of
on the mountains, I will bet my life to the one who set me there.
Welcome back to Recovery Talk, and we were just talking off air. We're actually probably going to change the show, maybe call it Beyond Sobriety. I mentioned that I was wanting to go back to school, and I'm learning some things about my field that I'm trying to kind of get in line with, and I'm trying to move away from using the word recovery for this reason. Recovery is a good word, but it has a sense that I'm trying to get people to get back to a certain place. Does that make sense? And that's really not my goal with what I do on a daily basis. I want people to go somewhere completely different. So I'm not trying to get them to recover from back to a certain place. I'm trying to get them to transform. So I can't transform them, but I'm trying to point them to real transformation. So anyway, welcome back. And real quick, before we get back into your story, Jesse, just mention our sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech. Look, if you got a car issue, give them a call. They're ready to service your vehicle. I saw there was only one vehicle in there right now. They may already be finished with it because they're fast too. But anyway, give them a call, and you can know as a customer your business is going to help and support men in recovery through Freedom Farm Ministries. 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. Freedom Auto Tech, and you know what? They're open on Saturdays, and there's not a lot of shops here open on Saturdays. So give them a call if you need to get your car fixed. All right, Jesse. So you said 19. You're on. I'm not a doctor, but you're on some medications that I really question at this point. It's like you're being given stuff that takes you up. It's meant to get you to focus, but it's actually taking you up, and then you're being given pills to take you back down. That's not good.
No,
that's
no,
not good
not
at
at
all.
all.
So you're smoking pot. You're out of school. You got these prescriptions. You're drinking. So take it from there, my friend. What ends up happening in your early 20s?
It's kind of hard to remember all of it, but you know, it was, yeah, I'd say I was taking Xanax, and I think I ended up cutting the Adderall out. I stopped doing that because it wasn't fun, up and down. But you know, I got to where it was just, I was medicated all the time, and if I wasn't medicated from some prescription, it was from alcohol or pot. You know, I mean, I was numb all the time, and I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any kind of emotions, any kind of pain. I mean, yeah, it was kind of painful when I wasn't using or anything because I had to deal with those emotions. So I quickly escaped all the pain and the feelings and the emotions that I would get from life and all that stuff by taking more pills or drinking more alcohol or smoking more weed, whatever.
Which is, you know, the foundation of, you know, what people get caught up in when it comes to the bondage of substance abuse. It's reality. Sober is too much for me to handle, so I create my alternate reality through substance abuse, which gives me feelings and emotions when I'm doing those types of things. But it also makes the reality even more difficult because you're disengaged from it, you know. I mean, anybody will tell you, you know, how do people mature and how do people learn to live life by going through it, you know? So,
by living life.
Right, by living life, right?
Yeah.
So you check out of that part, and life continues to happen.
Yeah.
And it continues to harm you because now when you are sober, those brief moments you are, I mean, it's just like, you know, it's like, there's, you know, there's a whole bunch of life going on. I got to hurry up and get away from that, you know. And again, I don't think I think it's hindsight we can see that about ourselves, but I think that, you know, at that moment you're not like consciously thinking, I don't want to deal with life, so let me check out. You just, it's a habit, you know. It's a habitual thing now that you do, and it's got some very strong physical hooks in you too. That you know, depending on what your drug you're using, you know, some of them you can't stop without actually getting sick and whatnot. So anyway,
yeah, but I mean, like, I always thought, like, the older I got, I was like, Jesse, you're taking a coward way out. You know, I mean, you're being a coward, not dealing with these feelings and emotions and life. But anyway, I was working up through my mid-20s, you know, to my late 20s. I was working a lot while all my friends were in school, and basically, well, when I got done with school, starting families and stuff. And let's see, around 2006, I'd have been like 26 or 25. My brother was 27. We went to Hickory, and he had a girlfriend at the time that had a brother who lived in Hickory, and he was using about the same amount I was. I mean, I had prescriptions, and he'd be asking me for, you know, let me have this, and I'd give it to him. And so he ended up getting caught up in addiction too, but I think he could do with or without. You know? I mean, he didn't have to have it like I did.
Right.
And I guess I had to have it because I thought it was okay because the doctor prescribed it. But that quickly changed. We ended up going to Hickory to hang out with his girlfriend at the time, his brother, and drank all night. And he ended up taking some cocaine, and I took the whole bottle of Xanax and some pain pills, and we just partied all night. And woke up the next day, and I was like, man, let's start again. You know, I went and made me a drink and popped a few pills or something, and went to get him, and he was dead. And so I got him and gave him CPR for 11 minutes till EMS put me off of him. And you know, that was not a good day, but
absolutely.
I mean, he was my big brother, my best friend. I mean, somebody was always there with me growing up, and you know, I'm sitting there over and trying to revive his life, and I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I can't really, I don't know. And then I blame myself a lot because of that. And you know, like, if you wouldn't have gave him those pills or whatever that time, he wouldn't have been wanting to do more. But I couldn't do that. I was just, we were being brothers. We were just hanging out and thinking we were having a
You're
good
26.
time. I was 25 at the time.
25.
And he was 27 in 2006. But that was February 11th, 2006, and we buried him. So I had to, we ended up going to the hospital. I remember it started snowing that morning, and the doctor came out and told me that Jake, my brother, had died from a cocaine oxycodone toxicity overdose. And I said, I got pissed off at the doctor. I was like, no, he didn't. When I knew he did.
Right.
I was just wanting to be mad at somebody, and ended up having to make a call to my parents that day or that night. I can't remember when it really was. I think it was that middle of the day. I said, y'all got to come to Hickory. Jake's dead. I mean, that's all I could say. I mean, he's dead. That was their first son and first child, and they ended up coming up there, and we went back and excuse me, we went back and saw him, and he had the tubes coming out of his mouth and stuff, and he was just laying there, it was just his body. But it was a hard day. And
brother, I can't even imagine. I cannot. Honestly, I think this is the most detail I've ever heard about that portion of your life. I appreciate you sharing that right now, but I can't even imagine going. And that's 13 years ago, basically, right? 13 years ago, you were giving CPR to your own brother that had died through the night from you guys partying together.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody had any intention of anybody dying, I know, but this is kind of, we were talking about on the way here. A guy at Freedom Farm left prematurely, and we got report yesterday that back in Missouri that he was killed in a car accident. And yeah, life is short, and you never know.
And like we were saying, this is serious. I mean,
it is. But we'll hold that thought. We're going to a break right now, and look, we'll be right back. So stay with us. I'll see you in a minute.
Good song.
Cardinals.
It's the High Country's information station, AM 1450 and 96.5 FM.
Cardinals.
WAT.
I was like, where'd you see that? My phone.
NCN News. I'm Tony Rixby. The U.S. Supreme Court has a ruling this morning in a case on religious liberty. We get that story from Washington and CBS News correspondent Steve Dorsey.
The Supreme Court sided with the supporters of a
We'll play that coming back too.
International airspace in the Strait of Hormuz. The different accounts could not be immediately reconciled.
You all right?
The military had alleged Iran.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I think it sounds really good. Good conversations.
Roxborough police arresting the co-owner of a local restaurant on charges of soliciting
And it's really crazy. We talk about this every time. It's like, wow, show's already halfway over. They didn't got to like the good stuff yet.
Thomas Carl Adler co-owns the Clarksville Station restaurant. The police chief
hard to sum your life up in
I know, an hour.
30 minutes. An hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard because Jim, the way he normally does the show is like, he'll talk about that for 45 minutes, and then the last 15 is like what the Lord has done for you, and like what He's going to be doing in the future. So
like,
you only
stop talking about
and
it.
that's 45 minutes of program time. You have to remember all the commercials, all the news reports that this happens. So you really only have like 20 minutes to sum your life up, and then 10 minutes to say, here's what's happening, here's what's going on.
NCN.
You go back, I'm sure it'll be like, man, I wish I had said this. I wish I would have said
I know,
that.
yeah. Jim will have it back on. He'll have it back on soon.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I know that much.
it takes about the same time to create a dropout.
So I think when you come back,
The difference between a child becoming
you know,
one or the
over the
other
last
could be
13 years,
you.
just say like over the last 13
Studies
years,
prove that
you know,
reading to a child regularly dramatically
you've
improves
had
reading skills.
quite a few visits to
And
quite a
kids who
few
read well
programs.
by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate.
Freedom Farm being,
So
how many
United
times?
Way is calling
Six
for
times.
1 million volunteers
Six
over the
times.
next 3 years.
Yeah.
We're asking you to step up,
Two,
make a pledge, tutor a child
you were
who needs
kicked,
help,
you were asked to leave,
mentor a kid who needs
right?
someone on their
3
side,
of them you left on your own,
volunteer to read to
and
children,
now you're here staying
make a
yourself.
difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because when a child advances,
Yeah.
we all
Last
advance.
time I
Entire
left my
communities
own,
improve.
time before I left my
Path to
mom because
successful
of
failure
therapy,
starts
remember
long
that?
before graduation day. And the
I
difference
was
between
coming
a
off
graduate and a
therapy.
dropout could be you.
A nightmare.
Be a
But,
reader, tutor
the
or mentor.
3 times
Give,
before that,
advocate, volunteer.
Robbie
Live
kicked me out
United.
twice,
Take the pledge.
and then
Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you
I
by
think I
United
left
Way and the
the
ICANN.
first time I came after like a
The
week.
company behind some of your favorite nuts is getting into show business. Here's Mark Liverman.
Planters Peanuts has a treat for sneaker
Like the
fans.
time I was here with
the company
Phil,
is selling its
it was
own
when
branded
the
sneakers called
restoration house
Crunch
burned
Force
down,
Ones.
and we were
The
in
leather shoes feature a combination
small
of blue,
house
yellow, and black.
Andy.
Company mascot Mr.
Andy
Peanut
Bailey.
appears on
Yeah,
the tongue
I wasn't.
and
He was
include
after
peanut
me.
insoles. The
I
shoes
went
will
through
cost
restoration
you
before him. Our whole
$170
group. You
and are
remember
only
you and Ricky
available
coming
on
up there and making our whole group pack up.
Incoming Asheville
Brian
Police
Dredger
Chief
was the
Chris
house
Bailey
man.
tells WLOS the Mountain City deserves a police
he was
department that is a
smoking.
place
That
that
guy
people
was like
want to work.
an amazing liar. Like would lie about the craziest stuff. Yeah.
But yeah,
He comes from the Indianapolis
Robbie
Police
wanted
Department.
me and
North
this other
Carolina
guy
counties
put
that
us on
still
the
use
bus home.
touchscreen-only voting
And
systems
the
could
other
get a
guys went back to
reprieve
safe
from a
house.
state law that would
And,
scrap those machines before the
I think I remember that.
2020
I couldn't
elections.
figure out why you were
House
being
voted
sent away.
unanimously Wednesday for legislation
remember it.
that
I
would
mean,
enable
I
the
think
state
I
board
passed the
elections to
dictation test, but he
extend
still
the
wanted
use
me
of those
to.
machines
I mean, I
for
don't see
1
that
year
happening, but
or until after the
it may
2020
happen,
presidential election. The Democratic presidential
Riley
frontrunner
was in
firing
my
back
group.
after being criticized
Remember
for
Riley?
working with
Reynolds?
segregationists
Yeah.
in the
He's
Senate
still around
years
here, you
ago.
know that?
I'm
Is
Gary
he?
Nutt.
Yeah.
2020
Yeah.
Democratic presidential rival Cory
Who else
Booker is
was
among
it?
those taking aim at Joe
Big
Biden
Joe
for saying
from
that
New
the
Jersey.
Senate got things
Remember
done
him?
years ago with
Dead.
civility when
Yeah.
he served
Joe
alongside
Podesta.
segregationists.
When
Biden
he
was
died.
asked if he would
Years
apologize.
ago.
Apologize for what? Cory should
I know
apologize.
that.
He knows better. I'm not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my
Who
whole
else is it?
career.
Booker on CNN.
I was raised to speak truth to power,
That guy,
and
Eric.
I will never apologize for doing that.
Tall
Biden
guy.
says he was talking about passing the Voting Rights
went-
Act.
he left
Gary Nutt on
and
CBS
went back to the
News.
safe house
NBA
before-
draft begins tonight. Duke freshman
It was like the
Zion
second night we
Williamson
were there.
expected to go #1 overall to the New Orleans Pelicans.
Eric.
Tony Rixby, NCAA.
Larson?
Larson.
WSOC TV, Severe
He's
Weather
coming
Center
for a
9,
visit
High
soon.
Country
I was
weather.
at his wedding.
Really?
Expected showers
Yeah,
and
man,
thunderstorms
he's
to pick up as we head through the rest of the day today.
Oh, dude,
Some
he's
places
doing
like
awesome,
strong,
dude.
heavy rain,
I love
lightning, and
Eric.
very strong
Eric
winds
is
will be the main threat.
married
Highs in the
to his
mid-70s.
high school
Should move out very
sweetheart.
quickly this evening. And pretty quiet
Has no
weather.
business.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
10 seconds and I'll play this
Friday
song.
with dry conditions, but
My mom
the
says, "God
weekend,
bless you,
afternoon
Jesse."
thunderstorm
Oh, thank you.
chances pick back up.
Hi, Faith.
From Severe Weather Center 9, I'm meteorologist Keith Monday for High Country Radio.
Just hold on and I'll find you. Just fight a little longer, my friend.
Welcome back to Beyond Sobriety. I'm already going to start changing it, even though we probably have to get Braxton to do a new entry because it says Recovery Talk. So put it on your list. Anyway.
So have it in August?
Oh, yeah. So welcome back, folks. And real quick before we get right back into Jesse's story, don't forget about Freedom Auto Tech. You can go and get your car fixed and support a good cause right at the same time by bringing business to Freedom Auto Tech. 828-355-4434. 828-355-4434. They're open on the weekends, ready to give you good service. And a lot of times, if you buy a part from them, you're getting with that part a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. So that's amazing. So give them a call and know you're getting a good job done to your car at a reasonable price and supporting good cause all at the same time. Kind of a no-brainer. 828-355-4434. So, my friend, again, I can't thank you enough for opening up and sharing with people, you know, that moment in your life. I can't imagine. I have a brother, and I have 2 sisters, and I just can't imagine. And I have kids now, and I can't imagine. So, anyway, for the next 13 years of your life, why don't you take us through that, which is basically defined by lots of attempts at trying to stop or get out of this bondage that you're in.
Yeah. After my brother died, I covered it up. I did it even more. I mean, you would think that a normal person would stop doing it, what killed your brother, but I did it even more. I mean, just like didn't want to feel the pain and
But if you understand the bondage of substance abuse, it makes sense you would do it more.
Yeah.
You use substance abuse because you don't know how to deal with life. So when major trauma happens in life, what are you going to do? The one thing you have done ever, always, especially when it's intense trauma.
Yeah, my go-to.
Yeah.
So after that, ended up coming up here for the first time and actually went to another program, a faith-based program. Went through that twice, graduated it twice.
Which is a program here in Boone, 10-week program. We can say the name.
It's Hebron.
Hebron Colony.
Went there in like 2007. Ended up going back home. I don't really remember what happened. Ended up coming back up here 2009. Went through the program again and graduated again. I knew about Jesus. I knew he was the answer, and he actually gave me some joy that time. It feels like when I tell people about that time in my life now, I feel like that was the best time of my life. Ever since my childhood, like when I was playing sports and all that stuff, I had a great time. I was happy then, and God used that He really got to me there and showed me that what I really needed to do to get out of the mess I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I knew about Jesus and all that stuff growing up, but I didn't know I had to have a relationship with him. I had to give everything to him, and ended up, I don't know, that was 2009, heard about Freedom Farm at Hebron, and ended up coming. I think my first time here was 2011 or 2012, and like you said, I've been here. This is my 6th time here. So one guy asked me when he showed up for the program, he said, "You must like it up here." I said, "Yeah, I really do."
Yeah. So if you didn't catch that, Jesse's been here 6 times to Freedom Farm, and again, that's kind of a little bit of the reason why I wanted you on here. You've been to Hebron twice, here 6 times, and then a plethora of other programs too.
Yeah, multiple. I'm not in Christ-centered places, but AA-based and big book stuff.
But it's been a long journey, my friend, and your journey but they are all pieces of the journey, So if you are out there and you're listening, you're hearing, and you have someone in your life, okay, that you just don't think it's ever going to happen for them. Don't give up hope. I'm not saying that you can fix them. I'm not saying that there's anything you can personally do. But, the Lord can grab a hold of someone, and you never know when, right? Yeah. So don't give up hope. Be praying. And, praying is not like a second thought. It's not like, oh, well, I guess all I can do is pray. Pray is a major deal. Prayer is a major deal. I mentioned last week on the show that I have what I call my group of old guys. And, again, I say that very affectionately if any of them are listening right now, my group of old guys. And one of the common things that we talk about there is when we hear about people coming out of all kinds of different bondages and whatnot, they're like, someone's been praying for that person. I'd like to know who that was. And it's funny, you can always like discover that there's been like somebody praying for this person. So prayer is a very, very, very powerful thing.
Absolutely. And speaking of prayer, my mother and father, they have prayed. I mean, prayed for me, and my brother when he was alive, and all after Jake died, all the focus got on me. So it was like and all the prayers went to me. So I like I said, that guy said, I do like it up here. I like it because when I went through Hebron, that was the happiest I've been in my life since I was a kid, and so I knew. I was like, I knew what I needed to do, you know, and I still know what I need to do, and I still have to continue to do it every day, and that's die to myself and surrender and give everything that I am to Jesus and let Him lead me, you know, just follow Him. And it's not easy as it sounds. I mean, you know, it's kind of the opposite. How He wants us to live is the opposite of how the world says we should live.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I said, the Christian programs that got me up here, and
I think it would be kind of important to mention, because there's this one time you came here and we talked about it a little bit off the air, and so we're not an anti-medication place, but there are medications that we don't allow in our program just because we're not clinically set up to deal with, you know, administering these types of medications. And really, the bottom line is that they can be used as a lot of times as tranquilizers or abused. Mm-hmm. So there are things we have that we're not, you know, you just can't have when you come here. And you came here one time on one of these massive tranquilizers,
mm-hmm.
and basically the thing knocked you out every night. And
Sure,
I know about it because I was on it when I came here.
Yeah.
I was on the largest dose before bedtime, and you went through a withdrawal from that medication so bad that you didn't sleep for a month.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you were here, and I would see with you every day, and I would say, "Did you sleep?" And you're like, "No." And I was like, "Are you hanging in?" And it was by a thread. And it got to the point where it was so bad, you ended up leaving.
Yeah.
But man, you know, you're not on that today.
I'm not.
And I think you're sleeping pretty good.
Sleeping just fine.
You're sleeping just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying that I'm not an advocate to say like these doctors don't know what they're doing, but I will say that in the field of treating people that are, you know, active in substance abuse, I just really think it's a huge disservice to try to treat a mental illness, right, when the person is actively using.
Yeah.
Because when you are using, you look like someone that has this massive, you have some pretty prominent symptoms of prominent mental diagnosis, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been diagnosed with bipolar, you know, and depression. I do suffer with anxiety, you know, generalized anxiety disorder, but all those diagnoses however you say it, were made when I was in the midst of my using.
Right.
Know? And so they were misdiagnosed. And that's one of the reasons I was on Seroquel, because I was diagnosed bipolar, and they gave it to me. And yeah, it was not fun. It was not easy coming off of. But
when I came up here, I was on, I think, 6 different medications from a psychiatrist, and I haven't taken any of those medications for over 8 years. Mm-hmm. I stopped taking the final medication. I was allowed to have like 2 or 3 of them coming into Freedom Farm, and I stopped taking those within being here with like 4 or 5 months or something. So yeah, and again, I'm just saying that there isn't such thing as those diagnoses, that I was improperly diagnosed because I was using lots of drugs.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, so I looked like I was crazy. You know, I mean, because it is when you're like that, you look like you're out of your mind because you actually are.
And you feel like you are.
You feel like you are. And again, it's, hey, give me a pill to make it go away. And when you're giving a pill that's, you know, for these types of things and you don't have them, then it just creates more of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was, like, again, important to bring up about one of your times. But, you know, here you are now, 6th time. I welcomed you back with open arms.
Who's counting? Yeah, you did. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I was always a big fan of trying to get you here and stay, and I'm so glad that you have. But look, we got a break, and when we come back from this, we're going to talk about what life's like now, what's your future look like, okay? So stay with us, folks. We're almost finished with the show.
God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning.
Every minute in the high country, someone's work boots break down on them. Has that happened?
Yeah, you like it.
Are you still wearing?
You're doing great,
worn
too.
out boots?
Good.
at the end of the day.
So when we come back, we'll have like 12 minutes. So don't be in a rush. Just, you know, I think it's important to maybe talk about, like, you know, so Jesse, you're a guy who's been to like 13 programs 6 times here. So as many times you've been here, you've been to other programs too. So, you know, let's talk about, like, what do you see as being different, you know, and, you know, what have been some milestones since you've been back and whatnot, you know, things like that. So.
Okay. Milestones since I've been back.
I've stayed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just every day.
Yeah.
Just like I was telling Ryan yesterday, I mean, just give it a couple more hours.
You have become quite the encourager here.
Oh, that's what we're supposed to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Got the trucks.
Hi folks, it's Mike Hall here at Ross Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. We have a great selection of light new pre-owned vehicles fully inspected and reconditioned to ensure each one meets our highest quality standards. We value price every vehicle and back each one with a Ross Advantage, including 2 years complimentary oil changes, tire rotations, and car wash. So visit us today or shop us online at
wasn't that like being talked about at one time?
About a year ago.
But now
have you tried that salad bar at Capone's Pizza? Customize your salad just the way you like it with 40 top quality ingredients to choose from. And get this, try it.
So you know what I do want to talk to you about
That's
is
right, from 11 to 10 daily, the famous salad bar at Capone's
if
Pizza
I were
is waiting for
to
you. Or maybe you're in
start
the
doing
mood
this
for
on a
some hot
podcast
buttery
format,
pizza,
yeah,
then you got
you know,
that too.
what would that
Capone's
have to
New York,
look like
Miami, and deep dish
if I wanted to, like,
pizzas
just
are
give you
all
the
award-winning.
thing so I don't have to be in here and you just play it? If you wanted to do that.
Let's talk about it after. You just have to record it somewhere. You can record it here. But let's talk about it later.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oceans. If my friend Kyle Anderson in Memphis, Tennessee is ever watching, this is his favorite song in the world. So, welcome back to Recovery Talk. There's Braxton keeping it going. But, you know, hopefully this show has brought some hope to you, especially if you're someone out there that's dealing with a loved one in substance abuse. We have a person that has a story of hope. Jesse, you've been in here sharing it with us, and we're going to finish up in a second. Last plug for Freedom Auto Tech. Look, don't forget, if you have car issues or you just want to go and get a tune-up service, oil change, whatever, give them a call, 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. They're open on Saturdays, and you know, if you have to buy a part and get it installed over at Freedom Auto Tech, you can get a 2-year, 24,000-mile parts and labor nationwide warranty, which is pretty significant if you ever have to fix your car. We've actually had quite a few people come in and get free service done to their car that have gotten this warranty at other shops in other states. So give them a call, 828-355-4434, and you can know as a customer, your business is going to support men in Christian recovery, Christian transformative program, not recovery, transformative program, through Freedom Farm Ministries. All right, Jesse, so you know, if you didn't catch it, and if you caught some of this show and you want to see the rest of it, always go back to Recovery Talk on Facebook or freedomfarmministries.org. That's all one word, freedomfarmministries.org, and we have all the shows posted. You can watch any of them from the beginning to the end, even during the commercial breaks where we have little weird conversations that go on. So anyway, if you didn't catch it in the story, Jesse's been here 6 times, but you've been to about 13, 14 programs, 2 at Hebron. So you've been to a plethora of programs, okay, in and out. You're 38 years old. He likes long walks on the beach. No, he's not ready for a relationship right now, so let's keep that. I was kidding. But anyway, you know, I know that I would like to hear, and probably other people would like to hear, like, what's different this time? You know, like, here you are this time. What's gonna be the difference this time?
That's a good question. I mean, it's different every day. I mean, it's not really different every day, but I have to do the same thing every day, and give my life to God, you know, surrender my life and trust Him with my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I've my whole life, all I did was live selfish and worry about Jesse and what I was doing and what I was doing to myself and how I was feeling, and you know, that's not what Jesus calls us to do. He calls us to love God first and then love others, and love others the same as yourself, and you know, I mean, if not more than yourself. I mean, and to do that, I mean, I mean, like when I first got here this time, I just kept telling myself, all right, Jesse, if somebody asks you to do something, just do it. And if you want to do something, don't do it. You know, I mean, it's kind of simple. I mean, do what that's how I'm continuing to grow, I think, is by doing the things I don't necessarily want to do each day and not doing the things I do want to do, because I'm a sinner and saved by Jesus, and I'm gonna continue to be a sinner, but he's given me freedom, and he's given me joy and peace, and that's something I haven't had, I mean, like since I was a kid. I mean, if I even had it when I was a kid, but and contentment, man. I mean, I just, you know, I still deal with anxiety and anger sometimes, but I know how to handle it now. I know who can handle it, and he can, you know. I mean, I can't. I have to give it all to him, and that's what I'm continuing to do every single day. And I think that goes for not just addicts or anything. That's everybody needs to do that, I think. But that's just, you know, I mean, I haven't arrived. I haven't done anything special, you know. I mean, I still have to continue to die to myself every day and do things I don't want to do.
No, none of us in this life have arrived or will arrive, but you have arrived at something, and this is a lot of the reason why I've wanted you to come on the show. You know, my story, you've heard it. I've told it on the show, but I had 6 years of sobriety, and during that time, lots of growth, consistent sobriety, no relapses, and I relapsed for 5 years, and now I'm you know, close to 9 years this time. So I have the most sobriety that I've had since I was 12 years old today. But anyway, people used to ask me back then in the 6-year time, like, how do you know you'll never go back to that lifestyle? And I used to tell them, my reasoning is that I could not convince myself that when I died, I needed Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. So when I died, I needed Jesus. That was what I told people, because you want to have some answer, but, you know, you don't want to, you know, but then I relapsed, obviously, for 5 years, and now I get, you know, questioning that now, too. And what I tell people now, what's different now? I say, now I know I need him every day.
Amen.
And I didn't know that. I really didn't acknowledge that. And that's exactly what you're telling me, right? It's like you wake up every day and you're like, not only do you acknowledge that you need him, that you're dependent on him, but you're bringing all of that thinking into your daily basis, right? Mm-hmm. So when we talked about earlier in the show, you know, people that are in the bondage addiction, they don't know how to deal with life. Now, you can learn about dealing with life in a secular mindset, you know, but for Christians, we're given instructions, right? We're to bring his theology, his doctrine into our daily basis, look at this world through a gospel lens. It's not about me. It's about serving him by serving others. And you are acknowledging that on a daily basis. So, again, I don't think you've arrived, because you still screw up with that on a daily basis. Yeah. But you are convinced of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have arrived to a thinking, a mindset that I think is the foundation for you never having to return to drugs and alcohol again, and continue to progress in this life, because as you're doing that, you continue to be transformed. Amazing things are in store for you, my friend.
Today I can look forward to my day. I can look forward to my life. I mean, before I was asking God to let me die. You know, don't let me wake up. But today I look forward to my future. I look forward to my life. And one of my favorite verses is Psalm 119. I'm not sure which 105, I think, it says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." And that's what I tell myself a lot is, Jesse, just take one more step. Trust, because Jesus will light that step up. But he's not going to show you your whole future. But you have to trust him and continue to follow him with your future. But he'll show you each step to take,
right.
I believe.
I think you're totally right. Yeah, absolutely. I often, I take my daily struggles in my mindset, and I kind of wonder if all that struggle was gone away, right? I can see his wisdom in allowing me to continue to, struggle with like a simple thing like finances. It's like, I don't make a lot of money. I have 2 kids and a wife, and there's just regular financial stuff. I mean, we're not spendthrifts or anything like that. We don't get into debt and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you always kind of wish you could do more things like that. And I kind of wonder, well, what if I did have millions of dollars? I wonder how much I would just not even think about. Because what do I do when I'm frustrated? I'm like, Lord, I got to be patient. You provide. And, it brings me back to that. I bring him into that conversation in my frustration. So.
And it's something we have to constantly do. I have to constantly do it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not. He doesn't think like I do. I don't think like he does, and it's just. I'm just grateful to be here and just to do his work. That's what I want to do now. He's changed the desires of my heart to want to serve him and do his will.
All I can tell you is that I have been completely encouraged by knowing you throughout the years. You'd always check in with me when you weren't doing so well, and there was lots of attempts. You've come back 6 times, but you tried to come back even more than that. Yeah. But we would talk, and things wouldn't work out. I'm just so glad, because this is like one of those things. It's like people ask me, how do you deal with the failure that you see on a regular basis? And it's like, well, I don't always look at those things as ultimate failures, because you never know what's going to happen later down the road. And you're a perfect example of that. Jesse is finally, like I said, you have a mindset and a thinking that I think is going to be, that has transformed you, and I think it's going to be a foundation for continued transformation. Brother, thank you so much for being here today. I want to brag on you a little bit. Jesse has become kind of like the Freedom Farm kind of encourager, but not like, he's just, you hear him, he's got this voice. You're a radio voice kind of, but, guys will be having a hard time, and he's just quick to come up to him and say, hey, man, try to calm him down, talk him off ladders, and you pray for him on the spot. And, man, you have been a great hope for a lot of people since you've been here, and encouragement to me.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming on here, folks. It's time to end the show, but we'll be back next Thursday for another episode. We'll see you then.